Hey guys, how's it going? It's me again. I don't do this very often, but here I am on video, and it's because of a special topic. Because I don't really comment a lot about what's happening in Total War very often. But a lot of people have been asking me for the last few days. You know, there's this new Warhammer 3 DLC coming out, and it seems to be lacking a lot of content that people expected at a higher price, a much higher price than people expected. Especially historically in the Warhammer series, where DLCs were being sold at £9 and then 12, 16, and then, you know, Chaos Dwarves were sold at what, 20 something pounds, and now we're getting this one as well, which is the same price but way lower, way less content. So there's a bit of a worrying trend, and I can understand people are, you know, people are listening to people like Legend, who is definitely being very rational about why CA might be doing this, why they might be increasing their prices. Obviously, the answer is because they know they can get away with it. There are plenty of people who are still going to pay for it, even if the price is 25, 30 pounds. People will pay for a DLC. That's how businesses work. But you've been coming to me, you've been asking me, you know, in my streams and my videos, hey, you know, what do you think about this price increase? What are CA thinking? How are people responding? What should we think? You know, those kinds of good questions. And especially with, you know, this DLC isn't the only piece of content that's on the horizon for Total War. We've got Total War Pharaoh coming out in October. And for many people, there's a bit of a similar situation. Obviously, lots of people will be buying it if they haven't bought it already. Pharaoh is the next major historical Total War, and we haven't seen one of those in a long time. There's some great mechanics being brought back. I mean, the other day, Sophia released an image of battle banners and standards, and the UI has been changed. They're obviously listening to the community and hearing what the majority of people would like, right? So there's some great things happening for Pharaoh, but for a lot of people, there's this kind of like, let me hold this at a with a 10-foot pole, you know, at a distance. I'm not really going to touch it just yet because they're not sure if Pharaoh is essentially, and I'm going to say it, a Troy reskin. And what I mean by Troy reskin, lots of people are going to be like, whoa, hold on. Like, we've had Napoleon. Napoleon was an Empire reskin. It's regarded as a great game. What's going on here? And the reason why, and I'm going to clarify this really quickly, really easily. The reason why people are saying, oh, it's a Troy reskin is because people didn't enjoy Troy. That's what they're really saying, reading between the lines. Troy wasn't received very positively. It launched free on Epic Games. People picked it up, they played it, and then they left it because it wasn't replayable. The battles weren't very good, and they're still not good. And objectively speaking, Troy wasn't a very successful Total War. So when people are looking at Pharaoh, it's being developed by the same team. It's set in the Bronze Age again. It's got similar looking UI mechanics, features, faction gameplay design. Of course, people are going to feel a little animosity, a little, this is a little reminiscent of a game we've just had that was called a Saga, and this one isn't. So there's going to be some mixed you know, reception towards Pharaoh. It's normal, you know. If you're going to buy it, that's good. That's your prerogative. If you're not going to buy it for these reasons or whatever reasons, that's your prerogative. I'm just kind of stating, I think, some of the facts of what's going on and how people are kind of perceiving Total War Pharaoh and its launch in a few months. But the point I'm trying to make here is actually very specific. It's Creative Assembly used to make Total War games in a way that was replayable, right? But in a way that was horizontal. So what I mean by that is every new game innovated in a way that made it new and special and made it so that whatever faction you're playing, really, I mean, obviously there are some factions that weren't as fun as others, but there wasn't this kind of narrow focus on making every faction replayable, right? Because you were working on launching games with new mechanics like naval warfare and technology tree and Empire, the political system and the provincial system in Rome 2. Obviously, Rome 2 didn't have a great launch, but you know what I mean. Every kind of new game in that era launched with something new, different, interesting, engaging, that horizontal development that affected every single faction, all gameplay throughout the game. historical Total War was built on to a certain extent. You got to Thrones of Britannia, which kind of started this saga series of let's lessen the content and sell it at a slightly lesser price and see how it goes. And obviously it didn't really lift off, which is why Pharaoh is not a saga anymore. But that's what CA started going into, which is vertical development. We went from horizontal, all of these new mechanics and features, the way we're doing battles in this game, that affects everything, everyone. And that's where the replayability comes from, because people look at it and go, that is a great base game, great new mechanics, great new features. I'm going to play the shit out of that. Whereas in the recent games, the point I'm trying to make, the Warhammers with Troy and now probably with Pharaoh, the focus is on factions. It's races, it's cultures. It isn't, here's a new game. We've added XYZ feature. It's completely new and different. This is going to be a replayable game because you're going to enjoy it. It's here's Warhammer 3. We've expanded the map a little bit. We've added some, small details here and there from a horizontal perspective, this new, I don't know, corruption system or this or that. And what it's really coming with is a new custom campaign that didn't really work. It was a shame. I thought it was pretty good, the Chaos Rift campaign. But what we're really selling you is a bigger map, the Immortal Empires map, and loads of these new interesting factions with unique mechanics and unit rosters and you name it, right? All of these factions are going to be super replayable. And that's what they're doing. That's what the DLC system, the DLC cycle that they're currently doing is based on. Every new DLC adds a new faction, a new culture, a new race that adds to the replayability of the game, because people who picked up the base game a few months ago, a year ago, will come back, play it again for these new factions, and pay more money for it. So that's the system we live in right now in Total War, especially with the newer games. And it's worrying, this latest kind of controversy around the Shadows of Change DLC because of the lack of content for a higher price. So obviously CA are going through a period of, we've done great development in the series so far. Development is starting to slip because Warhammer 3 did not launch very well. The DLCs so far have been, mixed to good reception. Chaos Dwarves very good. But this is the first DLC in which we've seen some very negative response. A lot of people are saying, this isn't exactly what I thought it would do. Lots of things being left out. What about all these bugs that you haven't fixed yet? Or you're launching this Lord pack that's less content than what we've had before for a far higher price, when there's still plenty of issues in Warhammer 3 that you haven't fixed yet. So yeah, it's a very worrying time. I feel for the Total War community, especially for players of Warhammer 3 who are going through this, because obviously the historical side, the people who, I'm not saying there's a historical fantasy divide. I'm just talking about the kinds of games that CA has been making, the historical games that they've made, and the people who play them, either exclusively or not exclusively, have gone through this already. We've already gone through this with games like Rome 2 and its launch. Thrones of Britannia, I think, wasn't received very well either. Attila was unoptimized. It still is. CA has hurt the community in various ways before, and that same kind of hurt, that pain, is what the Warhammer players, exclusive or non-exclusive, seems to be what they're going through now as well. Warhammer 3 didn't launch very well, and now the DLC is less content for a higher price. So I really feel you. I mean, I don't want to be subjective here and say boycott CA, you can't buy this, or don't worry about it, like you're gonna love it, just buy it. Like, I'm not really taking sides here. I don't believe that's what Total War content creators should really do. I mean, if there's an objective reason, then sure. I mean, objectively, it looks like it's less value for money. So if you can bring it to yourself to delay your purchase, and not pre-order it, and maybe wait for a sale, wait for people to actually play the game and get a better review out there for it, then you should do that, in my opinion anyway. But that's totally your choice. I'm here to basically tell you, it's the Warhammer games are going through a worrying trend. This affects Total War overall, the whole community, and we're seeing a very similar thing happen to Pharaoh as well. So yeah, it's not very good times. I mean, we'll see how Pharaoh turns out really when it launches. When I get my hands on it, I'll be playing it and letting you know what I think. Um, but I'm hopeful that, you know, we've been through this on this side of Total War. I'm hopeful that people have the right frame of mind to know what is good value for money and to know when they should take a stand. And if they don't, then that's how the cookie crumbles. CA are doing this because they know, based on research, that enough people will buy it. So maybe at the end of the day, nothing will change, but who knows? I just wanted to make this video to talk about a little bit about it, the state of Total War, the state of the kind of content CA is making, how they're developing it versus what we've seen in the past, how it's being priced, and potentially how it's not very fair. I mean, with the whole cost of living crisis across the world, plenty of countries out there going through some very heavy inflation right now. It's not just, you know, the price of this game that's seeing inflation, you know, over the years. The cost of producing a game is going through inflation. Currency is going through inflation. I know someone who's bought Warhammer 3 at 480 lira, Turkish lira in Turkey, and now the DLC is that same price. So inflation is a very real thing. There are tons of elements and factors here to take into consideration when you're thinking about buying or not buying a game, how you should be judging other people or not. But at the end of the day, who knows what's going to happen? This has been announced. It's got the price tag on it. Maybe CA will respond. Who knows? I just wanted to, you know, kind of make this video and say what I think about the direction of the Total War series, and tell you good luck, basically, if you're considering buying it or if you've bought it already. Good luck to you. And that's it. That's it for today, guys. That's what I wanted to talk about today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative, or maybe you didn't. I'd love to hear what you think, though. Let me know what you think in the comment section below in this video. I'd love to hear what you think. I will respond, obviously, to your comments as well, and give little hearts as I normally do. Comments go a long way to help a video, so all of that is appreciated. Like the video if you did enjoy it and find it informative. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more Total War gameplay, content, and news, you know, just like this and others, let's plays and live streams and mod spotlights and all sorts of Total War content. Obviously, all of that is very much appreciated as well. So yeah, that's going to be it for today, guys. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.